Here we have a pre-owned 2020 Land Rover Range Rover Velar. And this one comes in the R Dynamic S trim level. So you're gonna see that P20S badging. And the powertrain consists of a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission. That gets us 247 horsepower, 269 pound-feet of torque. And then this one comes in the Fuji white on the acorn perforated grain leather interior. So as you get around to the front end here, we have our LED daytime running lights along with our LED headlamps, and they don't flash, it's just the camera picking them up. But I really just love how expensive this thing looks. I love the kind of bronze accents there with the gloss black. Looks really, really sleek. And even the grille, it's really, really nice. Now this particular Velar has the option for the 21-inch wheels here, which look really good on this Fuji white. And of course, I love the black accents throughout. So you got the black and bronze here, black and bronze here, black mirror caps, and then even down below, you have the gloss black there. And even this door panel, you have a little bit of plastic here, but you have a really nice kind of leather feel going on here. Looks really, really sleek. And then you have wood grain here, and then you have the gloss black. So you have power windows here. Now the front are gonna be one touch up and down, and then you have your power mirror controls there, so you can hit a button and you can use the knob to whichever side you decide. And then you have a child lock, rear window lock here, and then memory seat functions here, power door lock controls here. And then this particular one has the 380 watt Meridian sound system. And pretty usable pocket there. Then we have the electronic parking brake, power lift gate, and then we can adjust the lighting on the gauge there. And there we have our 14-way power driver seat with power lumbar support. That's going to be an added option there. And even the wood grain here, you kind of have the same design going here on the rear door, so I like that. And then I really like that you can adjust the seat back with a button down below here. So I'm gonna push that all the way back. I'm gonna hop in here. So legroom is not fantastic, but I really like how they used what's going on here. So like I have a lot of room to actually fit my knees here if I do need to sit behind a taller person. But because the seat is so adjustable, it's probably easier to get me in my perfect driving position without the seat being so far back. I just kind of adjusted it for that. But I really, really just love the rear seat itself. The seating is so comfortable. I have tons of headroom. And like I said, I just need to kind of adjust this because the seats come pretty far back. And then down here we have our rear AC vents. And then we get 3-stage heated outboard seats. And we even have a 12-volt right there. And I just admire this cabin. It looks so beautiful. And then if you look where the panoramic sunroof is, having that black suede headliner just makes it feel that much more luxurious. Then we have our cup holders here in that middle seat. And then we have grab bars on all 4 doors, and I like that we have the hooks on either side in the back. And then of course our premium dome lights there. And then we have these on either side, these pull-out pockets. So those are always nice. But let's go check out the back. So coming around the back end here, love that look. Kind of has that signature Range Rover look, even though it's a Velar. And we have a tow hitch on this one too. And then this one had the option of all-weather floor mats, so those are back here. And then we can fold these out to hang bags on. And it's actually pretty roomy back here. Let's see if we can, plenty of mats. And you could pull up here, and there's your spare tire. I think that's gonna be a 19-inch, there's a size there. So not a full size, but it's nice to have that pretty accessible. Then of course our fuel tank here, you can just press that. And premium is recommended. And then if you want to fold the seat down, you can just pull up on this here. And then when the seat's up far enough, these will fold flat and you can run longer objects through. And it's pretty easy to lock back into place. And then here is our front passenger seat. But I really just love the overall look of the Velar. It's my favorite Range Rover, honestly. They just did a really good job with this vehicle. But let's go ahead and take a look at the engine bay. And there's that 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. And of course, it's recommended that you put only the best oil in this thing. Can't wait to take it out on the road and see how it does in terms of performance. But now let's go ahead and hop in the driver's seat. So love the leather wrap steering wheel, and I love that this Range Rover feel is what you get in the driver's seat, even though it's a Velar and not a, top of the line Rover. You still have that same feel in the steering wheel, same kind of look, and I like that that carried over. So we have two LED screens here that are going to be touchscreen, and they don't actually flash like that just because they're LED. That's how they're picking up on the camera. But we have a navigation system here, and you can sign in, make an account, and your profile will be set up so when you actually get in the vehicle, it'll tell you, hey, over here, this is how far your house is. You can set up directions to go there, and it'll say hello, whatever your name is. I think that's pretty neat. But within each screen, so nav, phone, media, you can actually go through the settings there, and you can even set up the brightness of the screen, which I really like. And then you just have to hit the X to get out of there. Otherwise, you can't really navigate through anything else. But here we have the phone's settings here. So you can pair a new device pretty easily by clicking that. Now to actually pair a phone or delete a phone, you kind of have to go in here. Not audio, excuse me. You have to go to all settings, go to connectivity, and then you can actually go to your paired devices, and then from there you can forget the device. And then of course the pair one, you kind of just search for it, which is actually really easy to pair. It's pretty difficult to unpair a phone. So just something to keep in mind there. And then we do get AM, FM, XM radio along with Bluetooth audio. And then we also have wired Apple CarPlay, wired Android Auto. And then we can use online media when our Wi-Fi is set up. And then we have several camera views we can use. And then those are the parking sensors. We can toggle those. And then I like having the off-road information so we can view our approach angles, things of that nature. And as I turn the steering wheel to show what's going on. And then of course you can lock your differential with this being all-wheel drive. But there's our backup camera. So as you turn the steering wheel, the guidelines change with you. And then you kind of have that 360 view of sensors. Well, 360 view, and you can use the sensors there. And it'll start beeping at you if you get close to something. Now down here, these are actual HVAC controls and, you know, heated seats, cooled seats, all of that. So we can cut the climate on. We have dual zone automatic climate controls. But in true Range Rover fashion, once you get used to this, it's pretty neat, but it is very hard to actually, like if you rented this, you'd have to spend 10 minutes getting used to this system. So you actually can tap that for the fan speed. So if you're in single zone mode, you can adjust that there, and then you actually have to click here so that you can adjust the actual dual zone climate controls, and then it'll stay at that fan speed. And then of course you can put in auto mode and not have to worry about that. Now to adjust the seats, you just have to, while in that mode, click the knob, and then you can set it one way or the other. And then you've got for either side. Like I said, it's really neat. It's just hard to get used to. And then of course your volume knob is here, and you can toggle that on by hitting the button. And then you have your front defroster, rear defroster, and you can close your vents there. And you also have actual shortcuts here. So, and like I said, it's just a little slow to respond for the most part, but you have so much tech here. And then you can actually go through your drive mode. So this is the dynamic program here. By clicking that, you have an eco mode, and then you have a comfort mode, and then you have your kind of all-wheel drive mode, so grass, gravel, snow. Then you have your mud ruts, and then your sand. And then you can toggle your auto stop and all of that depending on what mode you're in. And then settings there for the actual screen itself. But down here to the actual shifter, we can just hit the brake, turn, rotary, reverse, neutral, drive. And then you have the sport mode here, and you can actually shift manually using the paddle shifters behind the steering wheel. Cup holder there, a little storage pocket here, and then each side has its own kind of lever to pull up to take a look at the center console cubby. Now our nav runs off that SIM card there, and then we have two USB ports there, and we also have a 12 volt. Now we have our sunroof controls here, and that's for the sunshade. So hit that one time. Then we can one-touch tilt or slide it. And I really like the roof in this. It's nice and big, nice and open. And we can one-touch close that along with the sunshade. Where the roof is so big, it kind of takes forever to shut. There's a view of the back seat from up here. We have a lockable glove compartment here. Owner's manual is there. While I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and show you all this window sticker. So of course this is a pre-owned vehicle, but this is what comes standard on the car. Those are the options. And then that's the actual sticker price down there, $67,515. And if you're curious about the warranty, if you were to buy this one pre-owned, that's what you have left on it. So I always like to show that when I can on a pre-owned vehicle. This one was kept in immaculate shape, honestly. Now to the steering wheel, like I said, this takes getting used to getting in a Range Rover, but what's really cool is if you want to go through your gauge cluster there, you just hit this menu button, and then you can actually, these change to arrows, and you can toggle through your options there. And then when you hit the back button and go back to that kind of home screen, these turn into volume controls, and then track list or radio station favorite controls. And then this is an actual favorites button. So when that's set up, you can set customizable steering wheel options. So if you want to hit that to go to whatever, you can do that. And then your voice recognition controls are here. Now to the right side, we just have our standard cruise controls, and then we have our lane keep assist, heated steering wheel toggle there, and then we can set, resume, and do all of that from that right side. And then once again, those paddle shifters here. Now the headlamp controls, once again, something it took getting used to actually get them to change. It stays at that kind of off position, so I can do that to turn it off, but to hit those corners, I have to actually hold it. I can't just like hit it real quick. And then for the headlamp, same thing, you gotta do that, and then they'll come on. And for auto, you can just toggle all the way up. So it's neat, but once again, it just takes getting used to. And then for this home screen here, you can change your info in that bottom right by hitting that button there, and it'll show you the different options. But I like the gauge cluster for the most part, even though only the middle part is digital. I really like having the gauges here. They look really sleek. And then for our windshield wipers, we can toggle our intermittent, and then we can use our rears there. And then we hit that button for the rear fluid. And of course, pull up here for front fluid, and then we can toggle up our speed. There's our push button start. And finally, here's our key fob. But now for the fun part, let's go ahead and take this 2020 Land Rover Range Rover Velar out on the road for a quick test drive. So of course, with this Range Rover engine, this 2-liter turbo is not slow at all, even pushing this heavier vehicle, so I really like that. There's our auto stop that just came on, and I'm gonna go ahead and just put it into a different drive mode. Let's try this eco out, see if I can sense a difference. Yeah, the pedal is definitely limited to putting my foot into it the same way in the dynamic mode is not giving me as much power. And it is a little slower to shift. I'm gonna put it back into the dynamic mode and see how it shifts getting on the interstate with these paddle shifters. Love the shifts, very, very quick. I'm actually pleasantly surprised by that. And then I'm gonna put into the comfort mode now. put it back in a drive. And let's see if we can get this cruise to work. So I'm getting around 24, 25 miles per gallon, cruising here at 73 on the interstate. So not bad. And it's kind of showing you over here. So as I'm hitting this slight decline, I'm getting 30, 32. But the ride is so good, even with these 21-inch wheels on. It's just floating down the interstate. And the brake pedal is so smooth. It doesn't have an initial bite or anything. You just kind of, it almost feels like the brake pedal's soft, but it feels so natural. A very luxurious stop. And there's the auto stop again. Yeah, I just really like overall how well this thing drives. Very, very comfortable. And honestly, this has kind of low-key been a dream car of mine. Of course, I'm trying to go electric, but ever since I saw Vinny from Jersey Shore driving one of these, I've wanted one. And it's just, I see why he has one. These are just really the epitome of a luxury Range Rover. I think they actually look loads better than just the standard Range Rover, and the interior feels just as nice. When you have your heated, cooled seats, and this one has the 14-way option with them. But this just feels so nice to drive, and with a sticker price, probably 40 or 50 grand less than a comparable Range Rover, I see why Land Rover decided to go ahead and start making these. And the design overall, of course the infotainment system gets on my nerves when you're first getting into it, but once you get used to it, it's kind of cool. But that's typical of Range Rovers. Even the Range Rover Discovery, the radio in there is like, or Discovery Sport, excuse me, it just gets on my nerves. It's just so hard to get used to. But I mean, for a Range Rover, once you get used to the infotainment system, these really are great, and the reliability has come a long way compared to the older models. I should say the boxier models. And I'm sure you probably still have suspension issues down the road, but I would hope they're not as difficult and expensive. But this one has, what, 42,000 miles on it, has a lot of life left in it, and this one was meticulously cared for just by how the interior and exterior is held up. But after driving one, I definitely have fallen in love with this car even more. And this will bring me to the end of my review of the 2020 Land Rover Range Rover Velar.